Let's go with that.
Okay.
So today, wasn't quite sure what exercise we'd do, but I thought I'd do a quick rundown of let's download some data, make some maps, look at a caving area, and find some dolines. Right, so the package we're going to use is, close that. We're going to use QGIS. So to get QGIS is an open source GIS system. It's pretty neat. It's updated. It's very well documented. There's a lot of tutorials and stuff on there, but essentially, if you want it, you hop online and go to the download now page and just download it. I would recommend that installer because it installs a whole bunch of other stuff that you may want to use for cave-related analysis. But we'll go into that in a little bit. So I've already got QGIS installed, so let's open that up. Actually, I want to open that one up. I'm going to open up QGIS with grass. Takes part of my laptop being a bit slow today. It will open, I promise. Just like it's thinking. It is, yeah, it's just loading stuff up. So once it opens up in a little bit. There are newer versions, and but a lot of what we'll do today we won't use any of the features that are in the newer version, so it shouldn't change too much. The general idea should all be the same. I think I've actually got the wrong version. I've got multiple versions on my laptop. Note from Red Tip, don't have multiple versions installed, just have one version installed. That'll be a good start. There we go. Right, so once you open that up, you can create this thing that's called a new project. It's pretty, there's a lot here, but in short, these are your layers, these are projects, like where you pull stuff into. And now, GIS data, broadly speaking, there are two types. One's vector data and one is raster data. So vector data are things like lines, points, polygons, so on and so forth, and the other ones are raster data, and those are things like images, so like pixels, essentially stuff that has pixels in it. So I've got a bunch of data here. Oops, that was the other one opening, finally. I've got some data here. Let's look at, let's look at some contours. So this is a contour of Chenowin. If you want a good base map on QGIS, if you go to plugins, manage and install plugins, there's a plugin called Quick Maps. I've got that already installed. I'd install that. Once you've done that, you go to Quick Map Services. You can then download and have a whole bunch of different background layers. So I'm just going to add like Google Street View in the background. It just gives you a bit of orientation on where you are. Now, a lot of public departments also publish. So this is I guess a raster data set, but instead of having the individual tiles stored on your computer, it's just download from the web each time. Now, a lot of public departments also publish their data. So in New South Wales, we're lucky to have 6 Maps actually publishes what's known as a web mapping service. which is all the tiles are shared. It's like an API which allows you to just download the tiles and put them into your own software, like a GIS system here. So it's a way for the New South Wales government or the LPI to share some of their imagery data with people outside of just using the Six Maps website. So if you go here and you grab that URL, and then you go to layer, add layer. I'm going to add here, let's say, a WMS layer. I'm going to create a new one just to show you how this is done. So let's go with New South Wales 6, and in the URL that we've just gathered, click OK. You click connect. That'll tell us the layers that are available. And I think I've got the wrong one, to be honest. I do. So what I've got there is the wrong layer. I got the footprint layer, whereas what I really wanted was the imagery layer. So you should be able to go get the imagery layer from the different WMS exchanges. If anyone has trouble with that, just let me know. I've already got that here. Add. Oops. I must have shut this down, which would be very disappointing. That would definitely put a bit of a damper on my demonstration, which is relying on the Six Maps data being available. But no fear. Let's pull those out. I'm pretty sure I've got at least one of these in the background. Let me go switch to the WMTS. Go. That's better. Add. Okay, so now we've got the Six Map imagery, and that's Genolan, that's the valley. There's McEwen's Valley heading up to the north, and the caves heading down south. So this now is a raster data set that's being downloaded, and you can play with these. Now, you can also download what are known as vector data sets. So you can find a number of those online, things like shapefiles, so on and so forth. So I've got here a shapefile of contours. I'll show you how to correct this later, but right now I've got these contours, and we can overlay them on top of our data. Note here, those contours are the order of the layers that you've got there dictate the order in which they're rendered. So if you've got the contours on top, they'll be on top of the imagery. So here we've got the imagery there, and the contours on top. Now to style a layer, you can just go to properties. You can change some styling. If you wanted to, you could make these more transparent. So I'm going to make them a bit more transparent so I can see them a little nicer. If you wanted to, you could add some labels. Maybe I could, this isn't going to make a lot of sense, but I could put like an elevation label there. There's stuff around a text buffer and how it all works, how it's placed, the background, so on and so forth. So I've put some elevation labels on there. There's so many of them that's going to completely ruin my rendering process. So I'm going to turn the labels off. But you can see how some of the labels have turned up now. That makes sense. I'm going to turn those off. All right, so there you go. So you've got some vector data, you've got some imagery data in the background. Probably of more interest to us is the topographic information. So one of the other topo layers available via WMS is the New South Wales topo WMTS, which I'm just going to pull in now. Right, so now you've got the topo data on as well. Now, because we've got the topo down, the topo information only has a 20-meter contour on it, but we've put that 5-meter contour over the top. So that means we can get a much more detailed resolution model. So, and that, yeah, that's a map. Next question you probably have is, how do I convert this into a PDF or something I can carry around and print? So to do that, you can go over here to create this thing called a print layout. I'm just going to create a print layout here. Let's call it topo. I've got this as an A4 page, but you could change the page properties. Just right-click page properties and it'll you can change it there. Let's say we're going to go with an A3 portrait. Right, now here is where you actually add stuff to this map. So here we can add a map, add this map here. And that just creates a view of what you're currently looking at. So there's the Genolan map. I can move this information. You can zoom in. If you click that button, you can zoom into what you'd like to look at. I'm going to zoom out a bit there. You could change the scale. So if you wanted to go at exactly 2500 or 25K, there you go. You've got the 1 to 25K map on an A3 page. Let's add a scale bar. The scale bar will come in automatically. So that's very long, so I'm going to make it smaller. There's a lot of styling that you could do. So if you wanted to edit the parts of that scale bar, you just click on that and it'll come up with the item properties here, and we can change the units that are shown. So that's pretty nice there as well, which makes it pretty straightforward. You can change the elements that you've got there. Now the units that this is represented in is dependent on this number here. And this is what's known as a coordinate reference system. For most of Australia, you'd probably be using GDA 94. So that's the actual ellipsoid, which defines sea level, for lack of a better term. And then MGA, which is the magnetic grid of Australia. And that's what happens when you take that sphere, cut it up, and then spread it all out flat. And the mathematics behind that is what essentially gives you those coordinates. It's how you... And the particular coordinate system, if it's a projected system you use, defines what sort of stuff you can do with it. So if you have
Rafid, you're sitting on a zone boundary.
I am, yeah. That's and
zones in that view.
That's right, and you can see that here, right? So here, right there, you'll notice actually it's pretty much there. If you look there, these lines are going up and down to the north, and over here these lines are going slightly, they're slanted slightly, and that's because of the outer zone boundary. And yeah, that's picked up. And right now, and because this map is oriented to zone 56, all of these are north and south, and this is zone 57, or 55, which is why it's oriented slightly to the right. But those are details that you can, if someone's really interested, you can read up on that stuff. But if there's something that's ever wrong with your map, it's quite likely to be with the coordinate reference system. So it's one of the things that you want to check. But here we've got this A4 map now. If you want to add a north arrow, so let's just add in a north arrow. And say you want to go take this out to the field, so print it off. I'm just going to print this off into my Cave.js folder and put PDF maps and then just save it, right? That'll then just go away. It'll download the tiles. So this can take a little while because it has to download all of those tiles from the WMS server. And it'll print them at a pretty high resolution. So that's just going to go off and do that thing. Now, while that happens, we're going to go through some elevation data now and actually do some more interesting analysis. So, Elvis. So, for all of Australia, there's this thing called Elvis, which stands for it's called Elvis. I don't know why it's called Elvis, but effectively it lets you download the digital elevation model. So the height of all the different locations around Australia. And it's available. It's collated from LiDAR data, aerial scans. It's just a lot of different data sets that Geoscience has put together. So if we go to our favorite caving area, or one of our favorite caving areas, at least let's go to Jenolan. We can then go here. Where is Jenolan? I think I'm in the wrong spot. There it is. Right, there's Jenolan. You can click on that. So I've selected an area, and it's going to show me all the different data sets that are available. So there's a 2-meter digital elevation model. There's a 5-meter resolution digital elevation model. And that 5 meters represents the resolution. So like how big is each pixel? Or so in this case, each pixel is 2 meters and this one's 5 meters, and there's a lot of them, right? So you can just pick them out and just download them. Once you click them, you choose which ones you want to download. You give it an industry. You can call ourselves whatever you want. Type in an address, email address, and they'll email it to you. I've already done that for Jenolan. And that's available. That's what I've got here. So I've got this digital elevation, this 2-meter digital elevation model. That's all come in. So now my GIS project is still downloading those tiles. I shouldn't have made an A3. I should have printed it out at lower resolution. So yeah, note to self, make sure you have a very fast internet connection before you start to download all those tiles. Oh wait, it's back. Okay, so my topo map downloaded, all the tiles are downloaded. Don't remember where I saved this. Did I save it here? Oh, I did, yes. So it was a very big PDF because I printed out a pretty high resolution, but if this opens, which it may or may not. So to change those, you can change the settings that you have, so on and so forth, to make it less heavy and a lighter file. This is a very big PDF, which is probably going to crash my. Actually, no, it didn't, but it's quite detailed. So you can see there, and you can put this up on Avenza. It's georeferenced automatically, and you can put this on your phone and take it out to your caving site. Or if you're bushwalking or canyoning or whatever, you can put all your little points of interest if you're looking for anything interesting. Anyway, that's that. Now let's do some more caving related analysis. So any questions, by the way, feel free to stop me at any point. Any questions? Cool, okay, no questions. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring in all of this visual elevation model data, right? So if we go to our data set here, that LPI is nicely sent to us. These are all the ASC files. See, I'm just going to grab all of these. So these are derived from LiDAR. I'm just going to pull them in. And they should come in shortly. There you go. I'm going to put them into this thing called a group, just so they're all nice, like that. And what we can do is, I'd like to combine all of these individual raster files into like one cohesive raster file. So to do that, you can go to raster and you create what's known as a virtual raster, which is essentially a raster where all the other items are selected. So it's like it kind of standardizes the items for you. So resolution, allow each. I don't want each file to be a separate band. So there's a lot of the stuff is designed for like satellite information. So we have multiple bands. You might have an infrared band. You might have a radar band. You might have green, red, blue bands. near infrared, so on and so forth. But I don't want to do that. I'm just going to combine all of these into a single virtual raster. So let's run that. Hopefully it'll finish soon. Just going to run through. Brilliant. So virtual rasters come through. It's available. I'm also going to turn off all my digital elevation models now. And now you can see how that's all represented as a single entity. Now, looking at a raster like that is pretty hard to interpret. So it's often easier to, you can go here and you change the render type. Hillshade's a common one for looking at stuff. So I'm going to apply a hillshade. That simulates having the, I'm also going to add in, so let's just look at that for a bit, right? So if we've got this hillshade in now, you can look at all the, and because the resolution of this is quite high, you can look at all these, get this entire area in a fair degree of detail. And there's playing fields, Darlene just there. Right. Oh, I think that's playing fields. It would be playing fields, right? Yeah. Can anyone confirm? Yep, that's playing fields. Definitely playing fields.
That's playing fields.
Yeah, there's a road coming down.
Like Adrian's Folly.
There's the road. There's Adrian's Folly right there.
Correct. Yep.
You can put those all across. Now you can start to merge some of these data sets together. So let's look at, so we put some imagery on top of that. All right. Now you've got the imagery. Underneath it, if you have imagery with a with an underlay of a hillshade, you can start to see these different bits in a bit more detail. And if I turn that, adjusting the opacity will make it more or less easy to pick out what you want to see. There you go. And there you have it, right? You can see the road very clearly now. It's adding a fair bit of texture to all of these layers underneath. And we can repeat the process we did earlier and download that as a map. But digital elevation models are pretty hard to see and read and understand, just like that. And that map, if you were to print it off, would also be like pretty hard to actually use. So often you might want to actually create a contour map from that. So let's get a raster, extraction, contour. I can pretty easily make a contour from this virtual raster. Let's make the intervals. Let's go with 10-meter intervals. The attribute name that we want to do the intervals by, it's called elevation, but you can go check it depending on what's in there. And if we click run, I'm just going to run it as a temporary file. It'll create a 5-meter raster, or a 5-meter contour for us. So just to run through. But you can make a 2-meter. You can make a 2-meter contour as well, pretty easily. Process away. So there's that bit. Now, once this is done, we'll get a series of contours that should be pretty easy to spot. And then after that, I'll run through how to make a new layer. So how to draw something in and create a new file. And then if everyone's feeling up to it, okay, here we go, done. And now we've got contours, right? Got a contour map of Genoa, 10-meter resolution. And we could then print that off and export it and do all the rest. You could share that around pretty easily. So to share that around, it's just right click, save features as. You could use a shapefile or a geo package, but just go down to here. Let's see if we were to go and show this in KFGIS. Let's get data Genolan. I'm going to call this this is a 10-meter contour. So let's make this the 10-meter shapefile. Save that. And it'll. I'm not going to add it to the map, but I might as well. It'll save it as a file. There. And now we've got a 10-meter contour plot. So that bit's pretty easy. If you were now, let's say let's go back to digital elevation model. Let's say you're in a brand new caving area and you're doing your reconnaissance beforehand, looking at this. Maybe you've done a flyby, maybe someone collected this data for you, maybe you picked it up from satellite. The shuttle radar mission picks up 30-meter elevation models for the entire world. I think the newer ones from the European Space Agency have an even finer resolution. So if you had really big caves with 10-meter wide entrances, you could probably pick those up. So say we're caving somewhere with really, really big caves and really, really massive delines, and you were looking at these beforehand, you might want to mark these out so as locations. Same thing for if you're canyoning. Maybe you saw the aerial imagery and you went, oh, that's a cool place. I just want to go there. I'm going to mark all of these spots out. So I'm going to create a new layer to do that. You can have a number of different layers. I'm going to create a shapefile layer. Let's call this interesting points. It's interesting points. I'm gonna make it a point line. You can make it a polygon, a line. There's multiple things, but I'd like to make those interesting points. You can choose a coordinate reference system. I'm going to just call it this, and then you could add, say, a note column. Whatever you want, you can add that to your fields list. All right. So done. Okay. So this is our new layer. It's been created. It's in my file explorer. If I go down back here, it should be in my data folder. Oh wait, there's a interesting points data set. Now Shapefile, interestingly, isn't actually one file. It's actually a series of files. There's about 5 of them, but together they make up the shapefile. And the .shp is the actual one that you usually reference. But if you want to share a file with someone, you do actually have to share all of the 5 files for it to work. So don't just share the .shp file. Let's say we found some interesting points. Now we're going to add some data to it. All right. We're good to go. I've created the edit layer. So now I'm going to add a point feature. It's going to go with that. When I click that, and items come up, I'm going to call this, is that J13? It's not. Mammoth is 13. Anyway, let's call it 1. Whole. All right. Got another one. Yeah, there's Adrian's Folly. I'm going to call that item 2. Okay, so I've done like my armchair caving beforehand. I know where I want to look. I'm going to save these. I'm going to do that, and now I've got this data in. I could export this as a GPX file to import into my GPS if I wanted to. You can go to GPX. There's stuff to do that as well, like for automatically adding it to GPS and stuff like that as well. So yeah, that covers most of what I actually wanted to do today. So you've learned how to make a map, you've learned how to pull in some raster data, you've learned how to create a new layer, you've learned how to make pull in some digital elevation models. I was going to run through how to run some processor to automatically identify delines, but that's probably another 45 minutes or so, and might do that at a different date. But yeah, any questions? Yeah. Unless
I reckon what's going to be harder for me than using the actual program is using 6 maps to get the APIs and stuff. It's such a massive site, and there's so many places you could go and get lost in that site. I'm probably going to be coming back to you quite a bit to ask how to use it.
What I'd probably do is, what I might do is actually just share the URLs with everyone. So the sites are a pain. But I can just share the URLs. So there's the URL for the topo map.
I think I might ask you to email me some of the key ones.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fine. I'll drop them in the chat for this. Is there a chat? How do I look at the chat?
Yeah, there is a chat.
More chat. There we go. There you go. That's for everyone. There's the topo layer. Where's the imagery layer? Okay. That should be enough to get you going.
Yep.
And then there's that's it's pretty straightforward. Once you get the hang of it, like a lot of work has been put in over the last probably 5 to 10 years by various people to make this so much easier that anyone from any industry can get involved, as opposed to your spatial analytics, your spatial GIS professionals. It's just really just made for everyone. So, if you're planning your next hike, Kira, you got something interesting you want to check out beforehand. Probably a bit technical though. There's probably easier ways you could do this. Yeah. Any other questions?
That shaded, I like that shaded DTM. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just you can do weird things with it too. Like if you wanted to, I've gone with Hillshade, but you can change like the colors for it, and let's go like a pinkish color, and you can do all sorts of just weird stuff. Often you could do this with like a layer on top, which is just trippy. It's a bit. If you want to do funky cave art, go for it.
Rafid, is there a site where, for example, people have layers of walking tracks or similar?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, definitely. You can load in like KMZ files or GPS tracks that people put up. I don't know if Wildwalk still does it. Zed. I don't know if they still do KMZ downloads, but they. Oh, I should probably show you how to georeference a map. That's very useful. That's a very useful skill. I'll show you how to do that. So another useful thing that you probably need to know how to do, especially in the caving world, is how to georeference a map. Let's look at, is it Dunphy's map? Who did the Blue Mountains map? There we go. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Images. Let's go with Dunphy's map. All right, let's go this. So say someone's put up some sort of, sketch map somewhere, or there's or something of that nature, right? It happens for us all the time because we get like these really old maps that people put up. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that's good. Right, so people put up these old maps. You find them in libraries. So, maybe they're from the 50s. So let's say we've got a map like that and we want to actually put it in space, extract points from it, put it into our GPS, so on and so forth. We can do that pretty easily. Let's say, oops, no, you can't see that. Go here. And that process is known as georeferencing. So let's say I'm going to go georeference this. So I can go here and add a raster. GIS, PDF maps. Oops, wrong one. Data. Janelle Nelly's going to open that up. Right. Okay, perfect. Now, our next step is to go and get some points from this map, which correspond to real world coordinates. So to do that, I'm going to turn on the topo. Right, and I'm going to go find some points for where this map is. I have no idea where it actually is.
Katoomba.
Oh, sweet. Okay, good. That's a good start. Let's get a Katoomba. There we go. There's Katoomba. I think there's Naranak around there somewhere. Oh, there's Naranak. Okay.
Yep.
Right. So I'm going to go and get a series of points from here that correspond to the other, and you probably want to get a nice spread of those points. So firstly, check the coordinate reference system, because the points that you get are dependent on the coordinate reference system that you're using. So we're using GDO94 MJZone56, which is 28356 APSG code. Keep going into what all that means later, but suffice to know that's just a number to deal with now. And let's go pick up Golden Stairway. Okay, I'm gonna go pick up the Golden Stairway. There's the Golden Stairs. It's roughly there. Now, in practice, you'd probably do this more accurately than I'm doing it now, but I'm going to go with, that's a point there. That's the Golden Stairway. I'm going to go get another point at the Cox's River, where the Cox's River meets
Megalon Creek. Yep.
Megalon Creek. Where's further to the west? Here we go. There's that point there. All right. Now, the more points you get, the better your estimates will be. But I'm just,
Yep.
you probably want 3 or 4, but let's just go with that for now.
Can you really get this with 3 or 4? Is there a
Sorry?
minimum number?
Sorry?
Is there a minimum number?
I'd probably go for about 3 or 4 spread out throughout your map. The more distortion you have, the more points you need, essentially.
Yep.
If you're in a very small area, you probably don't need that many points and the scales are the same. But if you've got like a wide area and there's a lot of distortion, I'd definitely use get a whole lot of point.
I've just
but 3 or 4 should cut it for most of the things that we'll be doing, because the scale is quite small. 3 or 4 should be. All right, so now I'm going to click Start Georeferencing. It'll say that didn't work. Go find some better numbers. This bit's important. Make sure you set the right CRS. The CRS has to be the same as the one that you collected the points from. I collected points using that coordinate reference system, or CRS, so I'm going to use that. And choose a place to save it. Let's call this, yeah, that's fine. It's just added that to the end of that. It's saved it as a TIFF. Let's go with TIFF, that'll do. I don't want to save, you can also save the points if you like, but go with OK. That's just set the settings, and now it'll actually, you have to actually just press the button to do the georeferencing. It's been georeferenced. Zoom to layer. it's underneath. Again, notice how it's underneath my layer, so it's not going to turn up. Oh, that georeferencing did not work.
Well, you only had 2 points.
I don't have 2 points. I need more.
You need 3 points to define a plane.
I should probably get like 1 more. Yeah, probably needed 3. Thanks, Kev. Let's go with. Oh, shoot. We need 4, 3.
Rafid is talking about geographic information system. Because it's interesting, just like your
Here we go. I'm going to add another point. So let's go get where
It started at 7:30.
Megalong Valley Road. No, that seems like a good. That seems like a bad point. Let's go with Timber Railway Station.
Huge is never whoever used to. How is your team so over toppled?
Running again.
Long call.
No, no one-on-one.
I lost for you.
There we go. That worked. Right. So it's placed the stuff for us. We can put some transparency on. Okay, Phil, there you go. Minimum number is 3. I've never done it with 2. Now I know it's 3.
And you never will do it with 2.
I know, I won't do it with 2 again. There you go. Apply, and now you've got like that map over the top there.
Yeah, we do this to fisheye imagery, and we use about 30.
Yeah. We give you a lot of distortion on those. So there you go. You can do that. You can pull those in, and these are often quite interesting because some of these old maps have some cool details on them that you can pick out. So you can merge that different information together. If you had an old cave map or something, or a map of old cave locations, but you didn't actually know where they were, you didn't have coordinates for them, you could put that map on there and pull those out. So in Tasmania, there's I think the Department of some really old reports actually have maps of cave entrances on there that you could georeference and pick out coordinates and then put them into a GPS and head out.
So if the map you're referencing might be a bit skew with and not properly referenced with coordinates and so on, does the system move the map around and distort
Yes.
if you've got enough points and coordinates?
Yeah, it'll distort stuff for you, yeah. But that's when you need more points. Yeah, you need more points to move those bits around. So because in this instance, say the stuff's more or less square and it all works, you probably only need three points. But if this was a really big area where you've got like the actual curvature of the Earth starts to play an effect, you need more points.
Yep. Like I just said, when we do fisheye imagery, we use 30.
There you go.
You know how good those Stunty maps are?
They're pretty good.
Yeah,
But
they have a bunch of passes you'll never find without them.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I know that. I meant in terms of geographically accurate in terms of relative distances and so on.
Yeah, they are. They're
pretty well made, yeah.
Yeah,
I've
these ones
not
are
done it myself. I just wondered how precisely he'd done them.
Yeah, they're good. And the other ones that are worth getting are the Bob Buck ones of the Colo if you're into canyoning.
Yeah, there's some cool details. There's some interesting passes on there that aren't on normal maps. So you can pull something like this in and then like draw over it to hook out your tracks and then export those tracks into a new map and print them off and put them into a Venza or and all the rest of it. Yeah, that's it. That's an hour. That's longer than I thought I'd go for.
Thanks,
Thanks,
sir. That was
Rafid.
good.
Yeah, thanks.
All right.
Rafid?
Okay, thanks, Rafid. Pub.
You're right.
Oh, thanks,
If
Rafid.
only.
No other questions? We'll call it. I'm going to stop sharing.
Right.
I'll stop recording.